Everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, best-selling author and your host on Inspire Nation. Check out our website where you'll find videos, podcasts, tips, and more at inspirenationshow.com. Today we'll be speaking with a miracle morning guest who's more energized than caffeine, knows no excuses, and throws himself out of bed with the gusto of a prospecting gold miner who knows today's the day he'll strike it big. His name is Hal Elrod. He's a Hall of Fame business achiever, #1 best-selling author of The Miracle Morning, the not-so-obvious secret guaranteed to transform your life before 8 a.m. He's one of America's top success coaches, a podcaster, an ultra-marathon runner, which we'll be talking about, and a grateful husband and father. He's also technically died 3 times, nearly lost his leg, suffered extreme financial tragedy, and watched his world crumble before him. But I'll let him share those stories with you. Most importantly, today we're going to learn what it takes to overcome the worst and how you can set yourself up to be the best, to overcome procrastination, set and achieve big goals, and finally live the life you deserve. In short, today you'll learn how to take life head on. Thank you so much for joining us on the show, Hal. Are you ready to shine?
Michael, I want you to just, I want you to travel with me or go on all the interviews I do and just introduce me. You're like, that was the most amazing introduction I've ever heard. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. I'm ready. Yes, I am ready to shine. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, fantastic. So let's dive right into things. And I hate to dive into the tragedy, but we got to talk about the things that made you
Sure.
who you are. What happened at 20?
When I was 20, my life at that time was going better than I ever imagined it would be at that age. I had a career in sales, and I was one of the top people in the history of my company that I worked for been around for 50 years. It's something that I had a girlfriend. Life was great, and I ended up driving home from a meeting. I was giving a speech. I was hit head-on by a drunk driver at 70 miles an hour on the freeway, and sent spinning, and the car behind me crashed into my door at 70 miles an hour. And I always tell people, just imagine that. To get an idea, look over your left shoulder and imagine a car is coming at you at 70 miles an hour and just crashes into your car. And what you might imagine is what happened. The entire left side of the car smashed the left side of my body. As you mentioned, my leg broke in half. I broke my pelvis in 3 places. My humerus bone, the arm, broke in half, shattered my elbow, severed my nerve in my arm, punctured my lung, ruptured my spleen, fractured my eye socket, almost completely lost my ear, and a lot of internal injuries. And I then died. You mentioned I died 3 times. The first time was on the side of the freeway. I was dead for 6 minutes while the paramedics tried to revive me after they pulled me out of the car. Rushed to the hospital, spent 6 days in a coma, and when I came out of the coma, it was to the news from doctors. They said I would never walk again, and I had permanent brain damage. And my wife will vouch for the brain damage. That's definitely permanent and true. But I took my first step 3 weeks later, and just kind of the rest is history, as they say.
So I've got to ask, because I've had 2 near-death experiences. I have twin titanium femurs, twin titanium hips.
We're titanium bros. Cool.
Yes, absolutely. We'll talk about that more, the running, in a minute. I don't know if you experienced anything or not. 3 near-death experiences, or 3 times dying. Did you feel anything, sense anything, experience anything? Because it seems like you came back a changed man.
I don't know how much changed I was. Definitely it impacted me in a positive way, but I really look at it's who I was going into the accident.
Yes.
That determined who I was coming out of it in a lot of ways. My positive attitude, the way I accepted the things I couldn't change and only focused on the things that were in my control. But the near-death experience, I don't remember, because I suffered instant brain damage. When you're hit in a head-on collision at 70 miles an hour, it's very common that your frontal lobe crashes into your skull and you just smash the front of your brain. And so I had no memory, and the doctors even told my parents. My parents said he was dead for 6 minutes. What if he had a near-death experience? And the doctor said the odds of him remembering it are not very good. Someday maybe, but so I don't have any recollection, but I feel like everything happens for a reason, and we have to choose what that reason is. And so I've just chosen to use the story and the experience to inspire other people to overcome their adversity.
So you got 11 fractured bones, brain damage, lost part of the brain, knew you would never be the same, and you said in the book this would be a good thing. How in the world have you seen it this way?
Well, I learned something in my sales training called the 5-minute rule, which said when it's okay to be negative, but not for more than 5 minutes. When something goes wrong, you literally set the timer on your phone for 5 minutes, and you get 5 minutes to bitch, moan, complain, cry, and then after 5 minutes is up, I learned that since you can't change it as an intelligent human being, there's no reason to put yourself through misery and suffering by wishing you could change something that you can't change. And so I applied that to to the accident, and that was the greatest lesson that I learned, is that when we accept the things we can't change, it enables us to to be at peace with those things.
So you set the timer, 5 minutes have gone by, what'd you do?
So I started telling jokes and laughing and all this. The doctors called my parents in and they said, "We think Hal's in denial. It's not normal for someone to be all happy-go-lucky like he is. We believe he is delusional and he's in denial."
Oh no. And
so my dad was concerned. My dad came to me that day, and I didn't know the conversation happened with the doctor, but my dad explained the whole thing and their concerns, and I looked at my dad, and he was like on the verge of tears. The whole thing was emotional as a parent. And I said, "Dad, I thought you knew me better than that. I'm not, the doctors thought I was depressed, and, that was the real truth that I had to get uncovered." I said, "Dad, I can't change that I was in a car accident, but I get to choose my attitude." I said, "I can either be miserable while I recover, or I can be grateful while I recover. I can be, sad, or I can be happy. I can be angry, or I can be excited about what's possible for the future." And the last thing I said is I told my dad, I said, "Dad, there's only one of two possibilities. Number one, the doctors are right, and I will never walk again. And I've already decided if that's the case, then I'll be the happiest person you've ever seen in a wheelchair." I said, "But the second possibility, so I have accepted the worst case scenario, so I'm not worried about it. There's no pain."
Which that alone is an amazing coping mechanism that people can learn from, is go into the worst case scenario, play it out, and then you don't have a demon lurking over there. You already know what it is.
Yeah. And accept it. Go, if that is the worst case scenario, how will I make the best of it, right? And for me, I'll be the happiest person you've ever seen in a wheelchair. And then the last thing I told my dad is the other possibility, Dad, number two, is I will walk again. And I don't know, maybe it doesn't happen, but guess what? That's what I want, so all my energy goes into that. And that was the greatest lesson. You accept all the things you can't change, and you don't put any more energy. Once you've accepted the worst case scenario, you don't put energy into worrying about it or stressing about it. You take all of that energy and you put 100% of it into, this is what I want. I'll accept the worst, but I'm going to expect the best. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to dwell on it. I'm going to pray about it. Whatever your process is, that's where I'm going to put all of my energy. And if it doesn't happen like I want it to, I've already accepted the worst. So it's not this, I'm not going to be defeated or depressed or distraught or even caught off guard, because I already knew that was possible. That didn't work out, but I'm going to make the best of that. I've got a vision for both.
I love it. I remember when I came to, actually before I got into surgery, and the docs tell me, "Michael, I got to wheel you into surgery. You're either going to lose your leg or lose your life." And I'm telling him, "Don't worry, doc. It's all going to go back together better than you ever expected it would." And I'm coaching the doc.
Nice. That's awesome.
So we need that visualization and that belief system to help get us through. So talk me through this. As you got going, what ended up happening? What was the outcome? And it seems like each year got better and better for a few years.
Yeah, and then I hit a huge rock bottom at one point. But no, so the outcome was this, and I don't think this is a coincidence, in terms of the power of positive thinking. I don't think positive thinking solves all your problems, right? If we sit here and meditate on our bank account balances growing, they'll probably stay the same. But I do believe positive thinking puts you in a peak physical, mental, and emotional state, and by focusing on what you want, not what you don't want, and therefore it allows you to solve your own problems in the most effective and efficient possible way. So 3 weeks after the crash, after my leg broke in half, 2 weeks after I came out of the coma, the doctors came in with routine x-rays and they said, "We don't know how to explain this, but your body is healing so quickly, we're going to let you walk tomorrow." So
3 weeks.
Yeah, it went from never walking again to 3 weeks later, and I took my first step that day, and then I was out of the hospital a month later, and I was back to work, in sales and breaking records, like I think 8 months after the accident.
Wow. So you're walking again, you're breaking records. It sounds like 2004, I believe you got inducted into the Hall of Fame for your business.
Yes, yeah.
But at that point, there was something missing. Can you tell me about that?
I don't know what one you're referring to.
Well, 2004, what I read is you felt you hadn't reached your potential. Most people get in the Hall of Fame, life is good.
Oh, I'm glad you asked me. I never talk about this, or rarely talk about it. It's one of my favorite stories. man, I always sound like my mom. My mom always tells all these stories about herself, and I'm like, oh, I'm like my mom, but it's my job now. Like, I kind of have to do it, you know? But anyway, I love you, Mom. If you're watching, Mom, I love you. You're amazing. But
my mom, if you're watching, I love you too.
So I hit Hall of Fame, and then I went to what was going to be my final company sales conference, and it was to collect some awards and then say my goodbyes. You know, I'd been with the company for 5 years, and I was close with everybody, and I wanted to really have like a farewell kind of event to go to. And as I'm sitting there in the audience watching our top 2 sales reps get awards for the previous year, which I had taken it easy because it was like, I only need to sell this much at the Hall of Fame. So it was kind of a laxed year. Mm-hmm. And I watched them get their awards, and it hits me, and they had sold a certain amount to win a Rolex, and I could care less about a Rolex. In fact, you'll notice I don't wear a watch, but that award level, I saw them get it, and it hit me. And I think for most people on the planet, this is a reality that needs to hit us at some point. And sometimes it does, and we don't do anything about it. Sometimes it never hits us. We're not aware. We're not thinking about it. But anyone watching or listening, the reality was I had never fulfilled my potential. I'd been with the company for 5 years. I'd broken a bunch of records, but it was easy for me to fulfill my potential for 2 weeks and break a 2-week sales record, right? Break maybe a month, break a month record. But then I would have a bunch of money, and I'd be lazy until I ran out of money. Then I'd have to work again. And so I realized I've never actually maintained the discipline to give it a full year of my full effort. And I thought, if I leave this company, yep, you know, and we can say that if I leave this day, right, having not fulfilled my potential, who knows when I ever will or if I ever will. And so
a commitment issue with yourself, and being able to look yourself in the eye and look in the mirror and said, I did everything. I pulled out all the stops.
That was it. I mean, it's funny you say that, because that was kind of the goal, was that when I ended the year, I could be able to end it and go, that, you know, I gave it everything. I've never in my life worked so hard. And, you know, I have a mentor that taught me, when I first told him I wanted to break this company record when I was brand new. I'd never sold anything. I just was going through training. I go, dude, I want to break the record. And he goes, Hal, I hear that all the time, but nobody's ever willing to be committed to do whatever it takes. Mm-hmm. And I think we all have goals and dreams. I want to lose weight. I want to make more money. Well, are you committed to whatever it takes at a level you've never been committed before? Because that's the thing, is to take your life to the next level, you have to be committed to do what it takes at a level you've never been committed before. Because if you were committed before, you would already been there and had those results, you know? So that's what I did, and I decided I wanted to double my income, double my best year ever in sales, which would double the income. But the reason is, my best year ever was $100,000 in sales. Again, so I was selling kitchen knives, and I would have had to sold to win the Rolex $200,000. And that scared the hell out of me. Like, are you kidding? Doubling the best I'd ever done? I was so scared, and I decided I'm going to double my effort every day, make twice as many calls as I've ever made. And it was a really up and down year. Halfway through the year, I wasn't even halfway to my goal, not even close. And it ended up, when the year ended, it was the last week of the year, the week between Christmas and New Year's, and that I had to give it my all. And that's the worst week to work. Nobody wants to see a salesperson, you know. And anyway, so ended up, I hit my goal, and that was the year I wrote my first book that you mentioned, Taking Life Head On. Yep. I kind of did it all in 1 year, and the one thing that made the biggest difference for me that year was I got an accountability coach. I had, for the first time in my life, I had accountability every week, every day for the entire year, and that got me to do the things that I otherwise, might have procrastinated on.
I love it, and as a coach myself, it is. It's so critical to be able to have that feedback, or else we can cheat. We don't even realize we're cheating, and we can be off of the line. And so if somebody can help us, pull us back on track, it can make just a massive, massive difference. Jessica has been mentioning, Jessica, my wife, she was mentioning, how much do you want Inspire Nation to succeed? Do you want it as much as Hal Elrod wanted his success?
Is that what she said?
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. That's cool. Yeah.
So,
yeah. Anybody else? Michael, it makes me feel any better. If you ever have any fears or insecurities, that's one thing I try to tell people all the time is, I have fear, self-doubt, insecurity all the time. Like the Miracle Morning, I wanted to write it. It took me 3 years, and it was my top goal for 3 years, and I failed 3 years in a row. I didn't do it. I didn't know if I was good enough writer. I didn't think people were gonna like it. I thought, who am I to talk about morning rituals? I didn't invent this, you know. So just for anyone listening, if you have fear and self-doubt, don't let those determine whether or not you achieve your goal. I think that's a big difference. Is unsuccessful people, or people that haven't yet achieved success and fulfilled their potential, they allow their emotions to dictate their actions. Whereas successful people, they ensure that their commitments dictate their actions. It's like, well, I don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it because I have to do to achieve my goal. I don't feel like doing it, but I'm going to do it. I'm scared to do it, but I'm going to do it. That is literally, if I had to say there's one difference between successful people and those that are wishing they could be more, that's the difference, is they simply do what they must do to achieve their goals, regardless of whether or not they feel like doing it.
And I would add to that, they just put that one foot in front of the other. They can be as scared as they want. They can admit, no, nothing wrong with admitting it. They can embrace that fear. Just keep putting that foot in front of the other and see what happens.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So in 2007, it sounds like things hit the fan again.
Yeah, so I mean, my first rock bottom was when the accident happened. That was 1999. Yeah. And my second rock bottom was surprisingly worse than the first. And whenever I say that, I always get funny looks because people go, "Well, dude, you died like the first time. What's worse than that?" You know? But it was real. I mean, 2007 and 8, when the economy crashed. At that time, life was good. I hit Hall of Fame with that company, and then I started my own business. I wanted to be a coach, wanted to be a professional speaker, wanted to write my first book, and I hit all those goals. I met my wife, was dating her. I had bought my first new house, or first house, period. I had bought my dream car, like life by every measure. Like physically, I was in great shape. My wife, I mean, everything's great. And then the economy crashes, and it felt like this overnight kind of rug being swept out from under me. But it was really a 6-month downward spiral where I lost over half of my clients. I lost over half of my income. I couldn't pay my mortgage. I lost my house. I canceled my gym membership for 6 months. Michael, I didn't exercise one time, because I was in such fear and scarcity mode that I woke up every day and I went into my office and I locked the door and I just stayed busy, right? Just busy trying to make money, thinking what I could do, but I wasn't really growing myself. And I finally confessed to a good buddy of mine what was going on, because see, I was a success coach. So telling people that I was failing miserably really messed with my identity, right? And so I finally told him, and I said, I want your best business advice. How do I turn this around? And he said, Hal, you don't need business advice. I said, what do you mean? He goes, there's 2 things you need to do every day that you're not doing right now. You need to exercise every morning, put yourself in a peak physical, mental, and emotional state to start the day. And he said, while you're exercising or directly after, listen to or read self-help. Get a business book on growing your business, making money while you're on, listen to an audiobook while you're on the run to, be efficient with your time. Or if you don't want to listen to an audiobook, if you prefer to read, as soon as you get home, go right in and sit down and read for 10 or 15 or 20 minutes. And he said, that will enable you to develop yourself into the person that you need to be to achieve the thing, improve your business. And I didn't like the advice. I was like, no, tell me how to set up a website and get, you know what I mean? I
remember reading, who was it? Robin Sharma, the monk who sold who sold his Ferrari. And it's saying, the best thing I can tell you is get up early, get up early, get up early. All great masters get up early. And I'm going, no, I'll do anything in the world, but not get up early. No, it's so true. And that's actually one of the things when I was looking at, is there really a need for the Miracle Morning amongst all the other books out there? I realized get up early is something almost every successful person does or says, right? Robin Sharma, get up early. Tony Robbins, get up early. Darren Hardy, get up early. All these people. But they always say it in the midst of dozens of other lessons, right? Like it's a chapter in a book. And if you're reading a 12-chapter book and one of them's on get up early and you have a limiting belief that says, I hate getting up early, I'm not a morning person, then you're going to do everything but that one thing. So I realized there's no one's come out with a book that's really pointed out this isn't just one thing that you might consider amongst your arsenal. It's the single most important determining factor in how you live every day, which determines how you live every week, month, year, and where your life ends up. And that's it. I mean, Eben Pagan, one of my mentors, Tony Robbins was interviewing him, and he said,
the most important thing, I'm paraphrasing, but the most important thing you can do to take your success to the next level is create a morning success ritual. It's the thing that creates your mindset and the context for the rest of your day. So you win the morning, you win the day. And so long story short,
yes.
I decided, I went home, I actually went beyond just, I went for my first run, and I realized this philosophy of I've got to become more. And then what happened was I had an epiphany. I thought, what if, instead of just waking up and exercising and reading, what if I discovered, I researched, what do the world's most successful people do every day for personal development? Mm-hmm. What if I found out what the best of the best in personal development practices were, and I did them in the morning all at once? And I ended up doing this research. I had a list of 6, yep. And I thought, okay, maybe I should do 3 of these. There's a lot. And then it hit me. What if I did all 6? Yeah. The next morning I woke up, I did all 6, and the rest is really history. It was that morning where I was $50,000 in credit card debt. Mm-hmm. My house was a few months away from being taken away. Yep. When I looked in the mirror, I saw the most out of shape, unhealthy person I'd ever been in my life, and I was depressed.
But I can see that you are also a man on fire. You had just lit the flame.
Yeah. When that morning I lit the flame, and I went, if I start every day like this, it's only a matter of time before my whole life changes. And the last thing I'll say on this is I had no idea how fast it would happen. In fact, that's why it became the Miracle Morning. It didn't start that way. It was less than 2 months from doing my first my first morning, ritual. I more than doubled my income. Michael, I went from being in the worst shape of my life to deciding I was going to run a 52-mile ultra marathon, and I started training for that and completed it months later. Yep. And I went from being deeply depressed to the most fired up, like you said, I had ever been. And because my life changed, 2 months, my whole life transformed. And I went, it feels like a miracle, like I can't believe how fast it's happened. And now I'm in awe to say that we have close to 100,000 people that do the Miracle Morning every day, and they're losing a lot of weight. They're making, I know this, I'm not like, it's not hype, like they're literally, it's amazing how people are changing their lives.
Well, no, it's a phenomenon over the web, and what you've done, you've lit a flame under so many people, and you've got this technique, and I love it, because for myself, I have my Miracle Morning ritual, but I never labeled it. And I think there's something special about labeling it. It adds something to the rhythm, to the pace of it. So you've got it, it's called Savers. And I wonder what you can share, if you can share what Savers stands for.
Yeah, so the Savers are the 6 practices that I, the first day that I just found them by Googling what do successful people do for personal growth, development, etc. And these were the 6 that like just crisscrossed, this is the 6 that everyone did. But at first I almost dismissed them, Michael, because our culture, and I'm guilty of this, we're conditioned to want what's new, cutting edge, never heard of that before, happens faster, quicker, and I'm going, these are like practices that are older than dirt. These are like, these are hundreds of years old. I'm like, I wanted like the new app that would, right? And I almost dismissed it, and then it hit me. This is what the world's most successful people have done since the beginning of time for personal development to be successful.
Aristotle, Plato, Einstein.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I don't do any of these, or I'm not doing these consistently. But then the real epiphany was, what if I did all of them? What if I did all 6 of them? And so these Savers, the first S is for silence. And that could be prayer, it could be meditation. For me, it's a combination of both. But meditation is something that I thought was kind of just a spiritual practice, which I'm a very spiritual person, but I had never meditated. Mm-hmm. And I didn't think it was for success or productivity. And then I found all these articles from, I found a quote from, what's his name? He's a billionaire hedge fund manager, Ray Dalio. And he said, and I'm paraphrasing again, I don't know the exact quote, but he said, meditation is the number one key to his financial success.
Wow. So
not as spiritual success, as financial success. And then I go, well, I got to try meditating. I found this article on CEOs that meditate every day for peak mental performance and discipline. And I'm going, I never realized it was the science behind it, right? So I think I got to start with meditation. And then I researched affirmations. And affirmations have a really bad name. I think people have been taught to lie to yourself, and that's not the most effective way to do affirmations. It's like you say one of 2 ways. Either you lie to yourself, you go, well, if you want to be a millionaire, just say you're a millionaire over and over until you believe it. You go, I'm a millionaire, right? And your subconscious is smart. It's like, you're lying. No, you're not.
Yep.
And the other way that affirmations are taught is passive language. Like, money flows to me effortlessly while I sit on the couch, right? No, it doesn't. And so the way that I teach affirmations and all of the savers in the book are results oriented and practical. So they're easy to do. They're not mystical or weird.
Give an example. And you mentioned like Will Smith, Jim Carrey, Muhammad Ali, Susie Orman, and Oprah. They're all doing affirmations. What's an example?
So an example is, so here's an example of a financial affirmation that's been taught over the years. Either you say, I'm rich, I am wealthy, and you're not. Or, if you're not. And then the other is to say, money flows to me effortlessly and in abundance. And that creates a passive mindset. You finish your affirmations, you feel great. You're like, wow, money's showing up soon.
Run to the mailbox.
Yeah, you get addicted to the practice, but you're not actually doing anything. So, the way that I teach affirmations, here's the example of how all the savers are kind of practical. I teach you your affirmation should first articulate exactly what you want. What's the goal? What's the result? What's the dream? What's ideal for you? What do you want that you're committed to?
And with specificity.
Yeah, exactly. Not I want to be wealthier, but I want to. In fact, I actually changed it from, don't phrase it I want, it's I'm committed to. I am committed to earning $200,000 in the next 12 months, right? So that's what you want. But if you ended there, great. You just want it. That doesn't do anything. Then it's, first of all, why do you want it? Or second of all, why do you want it? So you really reinforce what are the compelling benefits, and you affirm these every day. So you set a goal and then you literally forget about it until the end of the year sometimes, and you go, oh, I forgot I wanted to do that. Well, when you affirm every day, not only what you want, but you reinforce why you want it, why it's a game changer for you, why it's so important, then you're the motivation to do it, the desire, your flame, the fanning the flames. And then maybe most importantly, or equally important, is when will you do that? When are you committed to doing that thing? What do you need to do? And when are you committed to doing it? And so it's like, I'm committed to earning X amount of dollars or to writing a book because I want to change millions of lives. Therefore, I am committed to writing every morning from 6 a.m. until 7 a.m., an average of 5 to 7 pages a day until I publish the book, right? So this is universal for every goal, and you apply it, right? So again, I'm going in detail. I'm very, by the way, affirmations, if you can't tell, are my favorite part of the miracle. So the V is for visualization, and kind of similar. It's taught, visualize what you want, but then you just go back about your day. It's like, no. Visualize what you want, then visualize yourself taking action that day with power, purpose, enjoyment, even if it's something you hate.
So you mentioned Bill Gates, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Tony Robbins, Tiger Woods, Will Smith, Jim Carrey, Oprah. They're all visualizing. You talk about a visualization that Jim Carrey did. Can you describe that to us? Yeah.
So now his is more the mystical kind, Okay. So but I would imagine he backed it up with a lot of hard work. So okay. But when he shares it, I've never heard him share it that way. Or maybe he has. But the way he teaches it is, he wrote himself a check for $10 million, and in the memo he put for acting services rendered. Yep. And then he set a date. And, and it is sometimes magic the way that there are a miracle that it happens. But I think it was, I don't remember how many months before the date that he got his role in Dumb and Dumber and got a check for $10 million. Whew. But that's where it starts with the vision, but then you got to visualize yourself doing the things that will get you there, That
makes sense.
When I hated running and I wanted to run an ultra marathon, I hated running. So instead of when 7 a.m. rolled around, it was time to run, going, well, an hour earlier, I had visualized myself getting my running shoes on at 7 a.m. and then heading out the front door, and I saw a smile on my face, and I created the feelings of enjoying that run.
That's a key, is the emotional tag behind it.
Huge. It's crucial. So I saw myself doing what I wanted to do, what I had committed to do, but what I was likely to procrastinate or avoid because I didn't like it. I created the emotional enjoyment of doing it in my mind so that when the alarm said 7 a.m., that emotion came back and I went, oh yeah, I'm going to go lace up my running shoes and smile as I head out the front door.
Beautiful, which that's also a bit of NLP in there. jump to E, exercise.
E is for exercise. And Robert Kiyosaki recently interviewed me. I've got what he sent me here. And he said the Miracle Morning. Rich Dad Poor Dad. He's read The Miracle Morning 3 times. He said it's completely changed his life. Yeah. When I talked to him, he'd done it over 60 days in a row. I was blown away because he's a hero of mine. But what ended up Yeah, I mean, most people, I think have read his book. If you haven't, Rich Dad Poor Dad is a great book. But I forgot where I was going with that. Remind me.
Exercise.
Exercise. Thank you. Yeah, I created the acronym so I wouldn't forget. Jeez. So exercise, the scientific benefits of morning exercise, you get blood and oxygen to your brain. You release endorphins. You think clearer. You feel better. You have more energy throughout the day. So I'm not saying that you trade in your gym time or whatever you do. I'm saying that you spend as little as Robert Kiyosaki does, 3 minutes of exercise. In fact, there's a whole chapter in the book on 1-minute exercise. 1 minute of jumping jacks in the morning will increase your energy and your awareness and your thought, your clarity like tenfold. It's 1 minute, right? So that morning exercise is crucial. The R in Savers is for reading, and I don't mean like Harry Potter or 50 Shades of Grey, but reading self-help books, right? Books on the topics that you want to improve.
So we recently interviewed Kamal Ravikant. Love yourself like your life depends on it. And he wanted to give a big shout out to you first off.
He did.
Then he has a quote in his book. He says, if you want to get fit, surround yourself with people who are insanely fit. And when I think of reading, I think of we're surrounding ourselves with all these people who are insanely fit, insanely wealthy, insanely successful, insanely healthy, whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, I think that one of the truest quotes ever spoken by Jim Rohn is you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and most people don't really give that much attention. They hang out with whoever they hang out with. And for me, I have friends that used to be close friends. They're still close friends now, but I keep them at a distance. We don't hang out as often because, I love them, but they weren't, you've got to surround yourself with people that are going to help you become the best version of yourself. The final S is for scribing, and scribing is a fancy word for writing, aka journaling. My favorite form is the 5-minute journal, and you can find it at 5minutejournal.com. I'm not affiliated with them, but I'm a huge fan. And so the last thing I'll say on this is that you take all these practices and they are what the world's most successful people do for personal development, but they only do 1 or 2 or maybe 3 at the most typically. Robert Kiyosaki himself said before the Miracle Morning, no one had ever done all 6 of these in one ritual, and that's why he does it every day. And I think that's what makes the Miracle Morning so results-oriented, so quick. Like you're doing everything you could do to take yourself to the next level, and people see really quick change in their life.
I absolutely love it. Jumping into, you've been for many years known as Yo Pal Hal. What are words of wisdom that you would give young people or parents today?
Focus on who you're becoming rather than just what you're doing. I think that's the big, our society's conditioned to think if we want more, we have to do more. And often people think they're lazy, they don't do it. The real secret to success is don't focus on doing more as much as you focus on becoming more. And when you dedicate every day, that's the essence of the Miracle Morning. You wake up and you become more than you were the day before. And you do it every day. You get better. Your knowledge, your emotional intelligence, your resiliency, your fitness, your everything. You're getting better every day. And you wake up in 6 months and you're a different person.
I love it. Continuous self-improvement.
Yeah.
Question that we ask all of our guests right before the end: what brings you the greatest happiness, or what I call the woohoo factor?
Definitely my family, my wife and kids. If I had to really pick, the kids probably, I love my wife to death, but of course there's nothing like your children. So yeah, my wife and kids. I have a 6-year-old daughter, Sophie, and a 3-year-old son, Halston. And they're just the greatest 2 human beings on the planet that I've met so far.
Awesome. Where can people go to find out more about you and check out your books?
Yeah, halelrod.com is my website. Best place to get the Miracle Morning is Amazon. You can get, Kindle, paperback, audiobook. If you're an iBooks user, you can get on iBooks. And then last but not least, I want to invite everybody to come check out the Miracle Morning community on Facebook. It's a free group, but it literally over 19,000 like-minded, supportive, encouraging people. It is incredible. And even before you get the book, come check out the community on Facebook.
Fantastic. We'll have all those links on our website as well, InspireNationShow.com. Any last words of wisdom?
That's it, man. Michael, thank you so much. And everyone that listened in, thank you for your time. I hope you got some value, and I hope I see you in the Miracle Morning Community Facebook group.
Awesome. For everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler saying, be well, have fun, try a Miracle Morning, or 30 of them, and shine bright. Woohoo! Woo! Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like below. Also, leave your comments. Have some real fun with it. subscribe to our channel where you're going to get more great videos, more interviews coming up, and check out our website, inspirenationshow.com. That's where you'll find tips, blogs, information, videos you won't find anywhere else, and useful and helpful resources to really help you kickstart your life and to shine bright. Thanks so much again. Thank you for your support. Like, comment, subscribe. See the website. Thanks so much and have fun. Of course, shine bright. Woohoo!